First, before you do, just Detective, is this the beginning of that footage that was collected?
It appears so, yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead. Detective, does that appear to be the same car that had passed earlier?
Yes, sir.
And then we have a second car.
That's correct.
The first car, the black car, did that end up being a Chevy Impala?
It did, yes, sir.
That became a suspect vehicle in this case?
Yes, sir.
The second car, is that a silver Chevy Cruze?
It is, yes, sir.
And did that become a suspect car in this case?
It did, yes, sir.
And it appears the Cruze just did a three-point turn and turned back around to
That's
head
correct.
to the south?
That's correct, yes, sir.
So would it be fair to say this camera is facing in that same oblique direction as the car we were looking at, so to the north-northeast,
Yes, sir.
towards the western side of the hotel?
Yes, sir.
The people who just ran by in the videos that were later collected from the hotel, did they appear to be consistent with the shooters?
They do, yes, sir.
And how they're dressed?
Yes, sir.
And did they appear to be carrying weapons?
Yes, they did.
Is that the Dodge Charger?
It is.
And again, the two shooters?
Yes, sir.
Now, is this a different camera?
Yes, sir. This is the rear camera, or rear-facing camera.
Is that on the western, northwestern side of the vehicle?
Yes,
Is this a third shooter being reflected?
it is.
Does, in this video, can we see the one of the charging stations?
Yes, we can. Yes, sir.
And does that one appear to be hooked up to the car?
It does. Yes, sir.
Does that appear to be the same person that came by earlier?
It does, yes, sir.
We saw some white flashing, but then we saw a consistent, persistent flashing. That second flashing, what was that?
I believe the vehicle's actual security system activating with the lights flashing.
In this view, did we see that same third shooter run past both charging stations on the rear of the Tesla?
Yes, sir.
Is that what this camera, where it's mounted and where it's, I guess, recording from?
Yes, sir. Right above the tag.
Is that the same third shooter individual?
It is, yes, sir.
And we saw him firing a rifle?
Yes, sir.
Is this another camera on the car?
Yes, sir. It's the passenger side camera.
So the Tesla was facing out of the parking spot?
Yes, it was.
Same individual?
Yes, sir.
Is that the headlights of the Charger?
Yes, sir.
Is this the original camera position we were looking at?
It is, yes, sir.
And does it show the flashing lights of the alarm system?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm going to do 22A through B.
Okay, B is the individual videos.
Detective, did you and Detective Kirkpatrick also investigate the surveillance video system of the hotel?
Yes, we did, sir.
And were you able to find and locate video recording from around the time of the shooting incident, several minutes before and several minutes after?
Yes, sir.
And did that system contain multiple cameras around the perimeter of the hotel?
It did, yes, sir.
Did you collect video from multiple cameras, both on the eastern side, the western side, the northern side of the home to suites?
Yes, sir.
So have you seen this exhibit in a composite showing multiple camera views around,
Yes, sir.
tracking the vehicles as they enter the parking lot?
That's correct, yes, sir.
All right, Your Honor, we're going to publish States 22A.
Okay.
So if you can assist us with some narration here, is this the Impala entering the parking lot?
It is, yes, sir.
And is it heading now northbound on the eastern side?
It is, yes, sir.
Continuing northbound?
Yes, sir.
Is that vehicle now passing into the northern end of the parking lot?
It is, yes, sir.
And now is that vehicle on the western side of the home to suites,
Yes, sir.
facing south,
Yes, sir.
and it would have just passed the Tesla?
It would have, yes, sir.
Does it appear to now be turning and heading back to the north?
Yes, sir.
And does it do that just to the north of the edge of the southern end of the hotel?
Yes, sir.
Now, this camera, is this on the southern end of the hotel facing south, and then another camera facing southwest?
Yes, sir.
And do we see the Chevy Cruze again?
Yes, we do.
And is it now on the western side of the hotel?
It is.
Near the Tesla?
Yes, sir.
And that's, again, the Tesla being worked in with the hotel cameras?
Yes, sir.
Okay, in this composite. The hotel recording system, the cameras, especially the ones showing the portico from both ends, was the timestamp on that determined to be a couple of minutes slow?
Yes, sir. It was 1 minute and 45 seconds slow, I believe.
1 minute and 45 seconds. So to get real time, we would have to add 1 minute and 45 seconds to the time being reflected.
That's correct.
Date was correct?
It was, yes, sir.
At the very top of that video, could you see the Impala parking?
It is, sir, yeah. It's backing into a space.
All right, and now the Cruze is leaving.
Yes, sir.
All right. Which direction does the Cruze turn onto 40th McKinley?
Southbound, sir.
That would take it in the direction of the Moffitt Cancer Center down south of there?
Yes.
And this is, again, the Tesla we saw earlier, video
Yes, sir.
from the Tesla? Do we see here the collision between the fleeing Altima
Yes, sir.
and Hyundai? Does it appear that the shooter who was near the tree bumped into the bottom of the tree with his head?
Yes, sir.
Does it appear one of the shooters ran through the patio area?
Yes, sir.
And then came out running past the Tesla?
Yes, sir.
Okay. From the sequence of events, when the third shooter who went behind the Tesla charging stations, when he comes back up and is firing his weapon in rapid fire down the western side of the hotel, does that appear to set off the alarm system on the car there?
We're going to object. The state continues to narrate the video. I think they can ask what the detective saw, but not narrating what the state believes is on the video.
Well, you are leading, so, Mr. Harmon, so just rephrase your question.
Sure. The alarm system that goes off on the car, does that appear to you to be at a time near the shooter shooting up the west side of the hotel?
It does, yes, sir.
Do you believe there was some association between the two?
I do, sir, yes.
What do you believe happened there?
Just the overpressure and concussion of the shots being fired from a rifle in close proximity to the vehicle would have created enough vibration to trigger an alarm system, similar to like a firework being ignited next to a car that's equipped with an alarm.
Oh, I did, that's fine. I'll tender the witness, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Gonzalez,
No objection, excuse me, no questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Sonardi,
No questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Wise,
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Good morning, Detective.
Morning.
I want to just go back over a few of the things we heard about this morning. A lot of evidence was collected at the crime scene.
That's correct, yes, sir.
Among those things, numerous 9mm casings, correct?
Yes, sir.
I think we heard 31.
Yes, sir.
Right. And 29 of those, I believe you said, were turned over to ATF for further processing, correct?
30 of them.
30 of them.
Yes,
okay.
sir.
And when these casings and any of these items are collected, it's typically done by crime scene technicians.
Yes,
correct?
sir.
And you oversee that. Right?
That's correct.
But you want to ensure that all of these items are kept in the natural state they're in when they're found so that they can be preserved for testing later.
Yes, sir.
And one of the things ATF was able to do, and one of the reasons it was turned over to them, these casings, is they have a process to actually test these casings for potential DNA.
That's correct.
And then they also can do other, forensic testing to try to potentially match the casings to each other and to a gun.
Yes, sir.
Correct. And that was the reason that one of them also was kept for TPD, not for the DNA testing, but for brass tracks NIBIN comparison, right?
Yes, sir.
And that's the process, or one of the processes by which casings can be compared to one another.
Yes, sir.
You also collected, I think we heard a lot about this, but several projectiles, correct?
Yes, sir.
And not just whole projectiles. For instance, I'll show you what is in evidence is 9C. I'd like to show you what's already in evidence is 9C. Is that a projectile?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And that one is, it looks to be in pretty well intact. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And some of them, for instance, 9G would be fragments from a projectile, correct?
Yes, sir.
One of the important characteristics that you might be looking for in these fragments, we can see it somewhat, for instance, in this one, 9T, would be these striations in the projectile, correct?
Yes, sir.
That's rifling?
Usually rifling could be the crimping at the edge, depends on where it is on it itself, but generally rifling, yes, sir.
And rifling, and this may have been covered this morning, but rifling, those are the marks that are left behind on a projectile from the barrel that the projectile travels through, right?
That's correct, yes, sir.
And that can be important in an investigation like this because firearms examiners can compare those riflings to other projectiles and to potentially other firearms to determine what caliber the projectile may be and what firearm might have fired it, correct?
Yes, sir.
So any projectiles that you find are pretty critical pieces of evidence, correct?
Yes, depending on the quality of the evidence, but yes.
Sure,
it's
sure.
crucial to find them.
Some may be so broken up they can't be of use, right?
That's correct.
Some, especially any that have rifling left on them, can potentially be pretty important.
Yes, sir.
Right. And then, I don't know if this was covered, but you didn't only collect projectiles from the scene of the shooting, but I believe the next day you actually also collected several projectiles from the Dodge Charger as well, correct?
Fragments, but yes, sir.
Fragments. And it was, what, maybe about 8 or so fragments collected from the Dodge Charger?
I'd have to refer to my report, but that sounds about right.
You listed them in your report, right?
I did,
Each specific one?
Yes, sir.
And again, those are pretty important because these are projectiles coming from the shooter who likely would have killed Mr. Jones, right?
That's correct.
Thank you, sir. That's all I have.
Okay, Mr. Petridis? Okay, redirect, Mr. Harmon?
Yes, Your Honor. Detective, counsel for Mr. Gathright just brought up NIBIN, so I want to talk to you about that. NIBIN is a process where shell casings are put into a system, and there's a screening process to see if they may be related to other shell casings that have been collected in other crimes or scenes.
Yes, that's correct, sir.
But even if they're associated, that is not any, that is simply a screening process, correct?
Yes, sir. The bullet or the fragment that's, or actually in this case, the casing for 9mm that's being analyzed would eventually have to go to a crime laboratory for an actual microscopic comparison.
So that's just an investigative tool that may lead to evidence that you would then submit to a firearms examiner or analyst at the Florida Department of Law Enforcement.
Yeah, it's just for investigative leads only.
And then you would base your findings or your investigation on the findings of that firearm analyst, correct?
That's correct.
And you have submitted evidence to the firearms lab at FDLE in the past?
I have, yes, sir.
How many times?
More than I can count, especially in 5 years in homicide and 2 years, almost 2 years in the gun unit. A lot.
Okay, a lot. And do you rely upon their findings?
Yes.
And you've been asked about the importance of projectiles and items located in crime scenes like this from firearms, as to whether they are potentially important or critical evidence or and you responded, it depends on the quality of the item, correct?
That's correct.
It depends on whether it has characteristics that lend itself to comparison.
That's correct.
So if you have an item like the ones we saw where you have a flattened piece of lead with no rifling on it and no striations on it, that is of zero quality to a firearms analyst, isn't it?
That's correct.
Those cannot be compared to any rifle or to anything.
That's correct.
It's only items that touch the inside of the barrel where the rifling is that actually have imparted rifling where you could potentially compare it.
Yes, sir. We usually
Okay.
send off more whole pieces, whole bullets, whole projectiles that we can get that have limited deformities to them because we know that that's
Right.
best quality evidence.
Now, in this scene, you had 31 shell casings, correct?
Yes, sir. 31.
All right. So at least 31 9mm projectiles were fired, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. And if those 9mm projectiles were recovered, you would not expect them to match an AR rifle that is chambered in .300 blackout or 5.56, right?
No,
Different caliber class, right?
that's correct.
Okay. And if, like you were talking about, a high-powered, high-pressure, the same pressure that set off the alarm of the Tesla, if that high-powered round passes through automotive glass or sheet metal and fragments, like the rounds or the articles that you found inside of or may have collected from the Charger, and they fragment away from the jacket, or even the jacket is separated and it fragments, you can have items that have no quality or maybe some quality, right?
Yeah,